You've probably looked around your quiet home and wondered, is this it now? The silence can feel overwhelming, and the days sometimes seem to stretch on endlessly without much purpose. It's easy to feel like life has slowed down or even passed you by. When you live alone, especially later in life, it can sometimes feel like there's a gap between you and the world around you. But here's the truth. Living alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely or forgotten. In fact, it's the perfect time to create a new rhythm for yourself, a way to embrace this season of life with meaning, connection, and joy. Stick with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to share 6 simple habits that can bring back that sense of purpose and happiness no matter how many years you've lived. So don't click away. Let's take this journey together. That's why one of the simplest and most powerful places to begin is with a daily routine. It might sound too basic to matter, but don't underestimate it. A routine isn't about filling every moment with busy work. It's about giving your day a gentle rhythm. Something steady. You can rely on when everything else feels uncertain or quiet. When we don't have a rhythm, days can start to blur into one another. You wake up and wonder, what am I even doing today? And little by little, that sense of drifting can turn into feelings of sadness, fatigue, or even hopelessness. But the beauty of a routine is that it anchors you. It offers a structure that makes space for meaning, peace, and a sense of control. And the best part is, it doesn't have to be complicated or rigid. A simple morning plan might be all you need to feel grounded again. Let me tell you about Mr. Henry, a retired bus driver who lives alone in a quiet town in Indiana. For a long time after his wife passed away, he let the days run together. He stayed in bed late, skipped breakfast, and didn't feel like doing much. I felt like I was just existing, he said. But that changed after a conversation with his grandson, who encouraged him to start writing down a few small things to do each day. Nothing overwhelming, just a little plan. Now, Mr. Henry gets up at 7 a.m., opens the curtains to let in the morning light, brews a fresh pot of coffee, and sits on his porch with the birds. At 9:30, he takes a 15-minute walk around the block, and by noon, he's eaten lunch and watered his garden. These might sound like small things, but Mr. Henry says they've made a world of difference. It gives my day a heartbeat, he told me. I go to sleep feeling like the day actually happened. And his story isn't just anecdotal, it's backed by research. A 2020 study published in JAMA Psychiatry followed over 2,000 older adults and found that those with consistent daily routines, especially around waking, eating, and sleeping, had significantly lower rates of depression and better cognitive performance than those with irregular patterns. Routines help regulate your body's internal clock, which affects not just your sleep, but your energy, focus, and mood. Think of your routine like the framework of a house that holds everything else together. Without it, even the most beautiful parts of life can feel scattered or unstable. So what might your own rhythm look like? It could start as simply as waking up at the same time each morning, making your bed, opening the window to feel the fresh air on your face, and preparing a nourishing breakfast. Maybe you light a candle, put on soft music, or say a short prayer to begin your day with calm. From there, you might schedule a walk outside, write a quick note in a journal, or plan a call with a friend in the afternoon. These don't have to be major achievements, they just need to matter to you. The act of showing up for yourself each day, even in these quiet ways, is what brings the rhythm to life. Over time, this structure becomes your silent companion. It reminds you that you still have the power to shape your day, to choose your pace, to stay connected with what matters. And it's often these little rituals, the kind no one else sees, that build a sense of dignity and self-respect. Another important thing to remember is that your routine should reflect you. If you're a night owl, maybe your rhythm begins a bit later. If you love music, build that into your day. If you miss reading, carve out 10 minutes in the afternoon to open a favorite book. The key is consistency, not perfection. Life will always have interruptions. But even returning to your routine after a day or two away helps you feel like you're not starting over. You're simply returning home to yourself. And here's a beautiful insight from neuroscience. Your brain thrives on predictability. According to the National Institutes of Health, routines help reduce cortisol, the stress hormone, because your mind knows what to expect. In uncertain times, a predictable rhythm can act like a safety net for your mental and emotional well-being. You feel less overwhelmed, less adrift, and more able to focus on the present moment. That's especially valuable for older adults who may be dealing with life transitions, grief, or physical changes. A routine is not about staying busy, it's about staying rooted. So as you think about what could make your days feel more alive, ask yourself, what small anchor can I place? The beginning of my morning. What gentle rhythm can carry me into the afternoon with purpose? It might be your morning coffee. It might be the sound of birds outside your window. It might be the act of combing your hair and putting on your favorite sweater just for you. The smallest action repeated daily can grow into something deeply powerful, and the best part is you get to shape it. Your life still holds meaning, and with a little structure, you'll start to feel it again, one steady, quiet morning at a time. Just as a daily routine helps you feel grounded in your own space, what you choose to put into your body, especially what you drink, can have just as powerful an effect on your energy, mood, and long-term well-being. It's easy to overlook beverages. They seem so simple, so harmless. But many older adults unknowingly fall into the trap of relying on drinks labeled Diet Zero Calorie or sugar-free, thinking they're making a healthier choice. After all, these drinks promise to reduce sugar, manage weight, and keep blood sugar under control. But beneath those comforting labels, there's a hidden cost, one that often shows up gradually and silently. The artificial sweeteners used in these products, like aspartame, sucralose, and saccharin, have been linked to disruptions in gut health, increased inflammation, and even a higher risk of metabolic disorders. According to a study published in Cell in 2022, artificial sweeteners can interfere with your gut microbiome, the trillions of good bacteria in your digestive tract that help control your immune system, digestion, and even brain function. Researchers found that just 2 weeks of consuming certain non-nutritive sweeteners significantly altered participants' gut bacteria and glucose tolerance. And for older adults whose gut balance may already be more delicate due to age, medication, or illness, these effects can be even more pronounced. It might explain why you sometimes feel bloated, sluggish, or more tired than usual without realizing your healthy drink might be playing arrow. Take the story of Alice, a 72-year-old retiree from Ohio who used to drink 3 cans of diet soda a day. She thought it was a smart way to enjoy something sweet without the calories. But over time, she noticed she was getting more frequent headaches. Her digestion was unpredictable, and she felt more tired even on days when she wasn't doing much. Her doctor suggested cutting back on artificial sweeteners, and instead, Alice started drinking plain water with lemon slices and trying herbal teas like chamomile and peppermint. Within a few weeks, she said her bloating eased up, her sleep improved, and she even had more energy to get outside for walks again. Alice's experience isn't uncommon. A large-scale 2023 study published in Nature Medicine tracked over 100,000 participants and found that those who consumed higher amounts of artificial sweeteners had a 13% increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes and a 9% higher risk of cardiovascular disease. It's a startling reminder that what feels like a small choice, a can of soda, a flavored water packet, a diet can quietly influence your overall health. But here's the good news. Replacing these artificial beverages doesn't have to be difficult, and it doesn't mean giving up pleasure. In fact, it's often more satisfying to return to simpler, more natural options. A glass of cold water with fresh cucumber or mint can feel like a spa treatment. A warm mug of unsweetened herbal tea in the evening can help soothe the nerves and promote sleep. If you want just a touch of sweetness, a teaspoon of local honey or a few drops of stevia, a natural plant-based sweetener can go a long way without causing the same damage artificial chemicals do. The key is to choose drinks that nourish, not just entertain. And that's especially important as we age because hydration plays a vital role in brain clarity, joint health, and immune strength. The Mayo Clinic emphasizes that older adults are more prone to dehydration because their sense of thirst decreases with age even though the body still needs just as much fluid. That means paying attention to what and how often you drink becomes an act of self-care. Think of your daily beverages as part of your health routine, just like brushing your teeth or stretching your legs. So tomorrow morning, instead of reaching for that diet soda or flavored drink mix, try filling a glass with cool water, adding a splash of lemon juice or a few berries, and see how it makes you feel. It's not just a drink, it's a message to your body that you care, that you're listening, and that you want to feel your best. And over time, these small swaps build up. You may notice clearer skin, smoother digestion, fewer headaches, or more stable energy. These aren't grand miracles. They're simply the quiet rewards of making more natural choices. So take a moment to consider what's in your glass today. The shift doesn't have to be dramatic, but it does need to be intentional, because every sip you take can either support your well-being or silently work against it. You deserve to feel strong, clear, and energized, and it starts with the small things one drink at a time. Just as nourishing your body with simple natural choices can renew your energy, staying emotionally connected to others can breathe life into your days in a way no food or drink ever could. Human connection isn't just a luxury, it's a lifeline, especially as we get older. The truth is, living alone can slowly wrap itself in silence. You may go a whole day without hearing your name spoken aloud, and over time, that silence can start to feel like invisibility. But even the smallest moments of contact, as mile away of a short chat, can rekindle something inside you. It doesn't take much. In fact, it's often the brief everyday interactions that carry the most emotional weight. Consider James, a 76-year-old widower from North Carolina. After his wife passed, he barely left the house. He kept busy enough with errands and TV, but the loneliness was quiet and heavy. One morning, as he stepped outside to collect the mail, he saw his neighbor walking her dog and decided to say, "Good morning." She smiled, introduced herself, and they chatted for less than 2 minutes. But that small act sparked a habit. Each day after that, James made a point to step outside around the same time. Over a few weeks, their quick greetings turned into conversations about the weather, gardening tips, and family stories. Now they share coffee on the porch once a week. James says that simple wave and hello brought him back to life. His story is more than heartwarming, it's backed by real science. According to a 2023 report from the U.S. Surgeon General, loneliness and social isolation in older adults increases the risk of premature death by nearly 30%. The same report notes that being socially connected is associated with a 50% increased likelihood of survival. And it's not just about avoiding illness, it's about improving quality of life. Social connection supports memory, reduces stress, strengthens the immune system, and even protects heart health. You don't need a crowd. You don't have to be the life of the party. One genuine connection, even for a few minutes, can trigger the release of oxytocin, sometimes called the love hormone, which helps lower stress and increase feelings of well-being. That's why simply making eye contact, smiling, or exchanging a few kind words can have a physiological effect on your mood and your body. If walking next door or calling an old friend feels like too much right now, start smaller. Wave to a neighbor. Thank the cashier with a warm tone. Say hello to someone walking past you at the park. These gestures might seem insignificant, but they open doors for a conversation, for friendship, for healing. And perhaps more importantly, they remind you that you're still seen, still valued, still a part of the living world around you. One beautiful aspect of reaching out is that you never know what someone else might be carrying. Your simple hello could be the very thing that brightens their day too. It's not about waiting for others to come to you. It's about choosing, even in small ways, to be the spark. The Mayo Clinic emphasizes that social isolation can be as damaging as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. But the antidote isn't complicated, it's conversation. Contact connection. It's choosing not to let the silence grow roots in your heart. If you're looking for a place to begin, think about one person you haven't spoken to in a while. Maybe it's a cousin, a former coworker, or a friend you used to chat with after church. Reach out, write a short note, leave a voicemail, or send a card. If you're out running errands, take a few seconds to engage with someone around you. These moments don't cost anything, but they're priceless in what they return to you. Over time, the small exchanges become a fabric of emotional safety. You begin to feel less alone, more present, and more hopeful. And just like James with his neighbor, you might find that connection waiting right outside your door. So ask yourself, where in your day can you create a moment of contact? It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. The world is still full of good people, and you are one of them. You still matter, and your presence still brings light into the lives of others. Sometimes all it takes is a smile to start reminding yourself of that truth. And maybe right now you're thinking, it's too late for me to start over. But let me gently tell you something that's worth hearing. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Only you can write. No matter how quiet your home feels or how long it's been since you laughed from the heart, there is still more waiting for you. Not more to prove, but more to experience. There are still conversations to have, sunrises to watch, small joys to feel, and people how would be better simply because you showed up. You haven't missed your moment. You are the moment. And every gentle choice you make from this day forward has the power to change not only how you feel, but how you live. And as those small moments of human connection begin to warm your heart, there's another area of your life that deserves just as much care and attention: your mind. Because while it's easy to focus on physical health and social well-being, your mental sharpness plays a quiet but powerful role in how alive, capable, and joyful you feel each day. The truth is, when your brain isn't stimulated regularly, it starts to drift into autopilot. You may forget what day it is, misplace small things more often, or simply feel like your thoughts are moving slower than they used to. But the encouraging news is your brain is like a muscle, and just like your legs or arms, it stays stronger when you use it with purpose. That doesn't mean doing crossword puzzles all day long, though those are great too. It simply means finding something each day that engages your curiosity, challenges your thinking, or sparks your creativity. Let me share a little story about Carol. She's 74, lives alone in a small town in Missouri, and used to spend her days watching television from breakfast until dinner. It wasn't that she didn't care, she just didn't know what else to do with her time. But one afternoon she dusted off an old book of poetry from her college years and began reading again. That small spark led to bigger changes. Now, Carol starts every morning with a crossword puzzle, over coffee reads a chapter of historical fiction. After lunch, and has even picked up knitting again, following patterns that challenge her to learn new stitches. She says these activities don't just keep her busy, they make her feel awake. It's like I turned the lights back on in my head, she said with a smile, and the science agrees. According to a 2020 report from the Alzheimer's Association, engaging in mentally stimulating activities on a regular basis can reduce the risk of cognitive decline by as much as 30%. Simple daily actions like reading, learning a new hobby, solving puzzles, or even listening to educational podcasts activate parts of the brain that control memory, focus, and problem solving. These aren't just mental exercises, they're protective tools for long-term brain health. Harvard Medical School also notes that older adults who regularly challenge their minds show greater neuroplasticity, meaning their brains continue forming new connections even in later life. That's a powerful truth. It's never too late to grow, stretch, or surprise yourself. Mental engagement also has emotional benefits. It breaks the monotony of the day and gives you something to look forward to. It boosts self-esteem and restores a sense of purpose, especially when you finish something you didn't think you could do. And it doesn't need to be complex or time-consuming. Even 10 minutes a day of focused brain activity can make a difference. You could try a new recipe that involves measuring and timing. You might watch a documentary and jot down 3 things you learned. You could begin writing letters to your grandchildren, not only sharing stories from your youth, but also reflecting on lessons you've learned. These kinds of activities do more than keep you entertained. They help you feel involved, capable, and connected to your own story. And perhaps most importantly, they remind you that your mind still matters. You still have ideas worth exploring. You still have memories worth honoring and knowledge worth passing down. If screens have taken up too much of your time lately, don't worry. You don't need to cut them out entirely. Just balance them with something that stretches your mind a little. You might be surprised at how good it feels to complete a puzzle, remember a poem, or finish a chapter of a book you once loved. These moments build confidence and invite joy. So ask yourself today, what's something small I can do to wake up my mind? Maybe it's as simple as opening a book, sketching a flower, or learning a few words in another language. The goal isn't to master a subject, it's to stay engaged with life. Because when your mind is active, your world expands. Things feel more vibrant, your conversations grow richer, and you begin to notice the details that make life beautiful again. You don't need to be a scholar or a genius, you just need to stay curious. And that simple choice to learn to try to think can keep you feeling alive in the deepest and most lasting way. And just as keeping your mind active brings clarity and vitality to your days, nurturing your spirit with gratitude can bring a deep and lasting sense of peace. Gratitude is more than just saying thank you when something nice happens. It's a mindset, a quiet daily practice of noticing what is still good, still beautiful, still steady in your life. When you live alone or are navigating the later years of life, it's easy to focus on what's been lost. Loved ones who've passed, roles you no longer fill, routines that have faded. But gratitude shifts your attention not by ignoring grief or struggle, but by gently turning your gaze toward what remains. It invites you to slow down and see the value in the small, ordinary moments. And that shift, small as it may seem, can actually rewire the brain and improve your health in powerful ways. Let me tell you about Eleanor, a 79-year-old woman from Oregon. After losing her husband of 52 years, she described her mornings as gray and heavy. The house was quiet the days long, and she felt like she was floating through time without much color. Then one Christmas her daughter gave her a simple journal and wrote a note inside. "Mom, try writing down 3 things you're thankful for each day. I love you." At first, Eleanor resisted. She didn't feel thankful. But one morning she forced herself to write, "The warmth of my blanket, the cardinals outside my window, the smell of toast." That was it. The next day she wrote 3 more. Over the next few months it became a habit, a quiet 5-minute ritual that began to brighten her mornings. "It didn't change my life overnight," she said, "but it changed how I saw my life, and that change matters." According to research from the University of California, Davis, people who keep a daily gratitude journal report higher levels of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, and optimism. A 2020 study published in Frontiers in Psychology found that older adults who regularly practiced gratitude experienced fewer symptoms of depression and slept better than those who did not. Gratitude even helps reduce inflammation in the body by lowering stress hormones like cortisol. In other words, what Eleanor experienced emotionally was also happening inside her. Physically, her brain and body were responding to a new way of thinking. Gratitude doesn't ask you to pretend everything is perfect. It simply invites you to notice the small gifts of the present moment. The steam rising from your morning tea, the light filtering through your curtains, the comfort of a favorite song, or the softness of your dog's fur. These are not grand events, but they are moments filled with meaning if we slow down enough to see them. And perhaps most beautifully, gratitude reminds us that joy doesn't only come from big accomplishments or life-changing events. Sometimes it lives quietly in the background, waiting for us to pause and recognize it. You don't need a special journal or a formal practice to begin. You could write your 3 things on a notepad, say them aloud while brushing your teeth, or share them during a phone call with a friend. The key is consistency, like watering a plant. Your gratitude list may seem small at first, but with time, it grows roots. It becomes a part of how you experience the world. It creates a lens through which you begin to see abundance instead of lack. It helps you realize that even in solitude, your life holds beauty and purpose. If you're not sure where to begin, start with the smallest details of your day. What made you smile even briefly? What brought comfort? What reminded you of love? It might be the sound of birdsong, the taste of fresh fruit, or the memory of someone who once made you laugh. As you begin to notice these things, you may feel lighter. Not because life is suddenly easier, but because you are meeting it with open eyes and a softened heart. That's the quiet power of gratitude. It doesn't shout. It doesn't need to impress. It simply opens the door to peace. So ask yourself today, what are 3 things I'm grateful for right now? Write them down. Speak them out loud. Let them rise gently to the surface of your thoughts. Because in choosing to notice what's good, you are actively choosing joy even in the midst of quiet. And that choice made day after day has the power to transform not only how you feel, but how you live. And when you weave all these small practices together, a simple routine, mindful choices about what you drink, gentle moments of connection, mental engagement, and daily gratitude, you begin to shape a life that feels steady, meaningful, and truly your own. Living alone doesn't have to mean feeling lonely. This chapter of your life can be one of reflection, renewal, and quiet joy. It's not about doing everything at once, and it's certainly not about perfection. It's about choosing one small thing today that brings you peace, purpose, or a sense of connection. Maybe it's setting a time to enjoy your morning coffee without rushing. Maybe it's calling a friend you've been thinking about. Maybe it's writing down 3 things that made you smile. Whatever you choose, let it be something that reminds you you're still here, still growing, still deeply needed in this world. So take a deep breath, look around, and ask yourself, what's one gentle habit I can begin today that will make tomorrow feel a little brighter? If something in this message spoke to your heart, I'd love to hear from you. Which of these 6 habits feels most possible for you right now? Let me know in the comments. And if this video helped you in any way, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It helps us reach more people who might need this encouragement just like you. Thank you for spending this time with me today. And remember, even in stillness, your life has rhythm. Even in solitude, your presence matters. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and keep choosing what brings your soul peace.